Okay.
Good morning, fine humans. Welcome, welcome. I am sitting today with, wait, I always call you Melissa, but do you want me to call you Melissa or Melissa Lee?
Melissa is fine. Yeah.
I love calling you Melissa, and I don't know why, but it's always my favorite. But I'm here today, and we were talking about, we're actually going to start talking about sexuality and listening to your intuition. And I'm going to actually start off. So I'm actually going to get you to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to talk about something else. So you introduce yourself, Beauty. Tell us who you are, why you're here, what's awesome about you. What do you do?
You betcha. So I'm Melissa, or you can call me Melissa Lee. I do oracle card or intuitive readings. I actually don't need the card. I'm clairvoyant, so I see images and get sometimes words and sometimes phrases from your spiritual guides. I do mediumship as well, but it's not something that I practice frequently, and it's not something I'm offering right now. I have been working with Nadine for a couple years now, taking healers training. In the past, I have undergone other mentorships and oh my gosh, what's that when you guys all get together? Mastermind groups, yes, with regards to intuition. I love to, I know the theme for January is listening, and people seem to really open up to me and get into the nitty gritty of things. I am, I guess, like recently single, a year's worth. Okay, I could take 5 minutes just to talk about myself the whole time. So I've been single for over a year, and I'm just rediscovering my divine feminine energy. I've been taking burlesque dancing, so you can find me on stage. Yeah,
It's
that's me in a
amazing. It's
nutshell.
true, right? We're complex human beings, aren't we? We have so many cool things. It's one of the great things I think I love about energy healing or intuitive healing or whatever. When we come to these, we come to people are really neat and we're diverse, and that there's a really cool thing where we actually aren't afraid to bring all of us to the healing room. Whatever the consult of whatever the requirement is, there's a piece of us that's like we're all present with that person. So thank you.
Oh, my
So we're
pleasure.
going to talk about intuition and sexuality. And it was really cool because before we started recording, we were talking about the pubic hair post. And I'm actually going to start there. There was a lot of negative backlash. People were cranky about that. I had someone tell me that I was body shaming women. I had people telling me that I was being the pedophile. I had people tell me that I shouldn't tell people what to do with their bodies. And I think it's really important because I want to talk about this with Melissa in particular, because I think I think sometimes we actually think that everything is sort of equal. You can keep your pubic hair or you cannot, and both of these are equally acceptable choices. And I actually think that's wrong. I actually think that there's risks and benefits to keeping your pubic hair, and there's a lot of harm in not having pubic hair. And once you actually have those truly clear in your mind, then we're actually in a space of freedom and true choice to trust our intuition. This isn't about whether you got pubes. Rip it off. Come on. You're like, it's gone. But let's take that into our sexuality. What's been your sort of knowing or experience about, how to listen to your intuition, particularly around your sexuality?
So just going back to the piece about pubic hair, and it's so interesting because they used to actually make pubic hair wigs called merkins for prostitutes. So they would have so that was acceptable and desirable. And now all of a sudden it's been flipped. So kind of like away from like your natural beauty or the actual having hair down there to having no hair down there. And as a recently single woman, kind of dipping my toes into the dating scene and such, it's interesting how these things do come up. And I'm like, I just want you to know that I'm natural. I'm a woman and there is hair down there. Like, this is my lady bits. I had a roommate in university who used to call it the GBM, the gargantuan bush monster. So we're going to change that. She's a princess, and yeah, she's warm. And I have like, I've been there. I've done the waxing, I've done the shaving, I've given it a shot. And you know what? It's not for me. It's cold, it's uncomfortable. She's happy just the way she is. So, and a lot of the gentlemen that I have met and you know, have been with are cool with it. And like, they like my bush. What am I gonna say?
Yeah, I love
So
that. And I'm talking about this because there's two things. I love that you brought this up. So number one, back to the Merkin piece. The reason that big bush was considered so hot and sexy is because it was a key component for most people in their actual physiological, biological going through puberty. Getting pubic hair is almost one of the first things of your secondary sex characteristics. You are saying, my body is juicy and lovey, and we're moving into the sexy, sexy, sexy time. That's actually what pubic hair is for. It's a huge marker. So if you like boobs, you probably got to like the bush, because they're actually both secondary sex characteristics for when we hit puberty. So I love that. And the other thing I want to say about it, because you nailed it, explaining to men about our bodies. And one thing I really want to share, and we haven't talked about this before, but the reason men like no pubic hair, and this isn't something that they're thinking about, but I'll tell you why physiologically, because men like to see. Visual cues are huge for men. They're gigantic. That's why they love seeing boobs. They love butts. They love seeing all the juicy goods down below. And that there's like this secret kind of cavern that they're like, ooh, juicy juice, I want to get in there. But to be able to see it is a huge sexual cue for many, many men. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to see it. Nothing wrong at all. But understand that that's not necessarily from the highest wellness and good for women. You go.
like quite honestly, like if you want to see it, get down there, you can see it. Right? Like it's all there. Like
Yeah,
it's still there. Yeah. And it's yeah, no, I'm quite happy with it. And it's I think I was rather afraid and a little ashamed at first, but generally feedback was good. And so I'm just, I'm happy to continue with it. Not that I would have considered shaming it either. Like there's somebody out there for everybody. And there's some sort of, like in my personal opinion, compatibility, right? Like you will find somebody who is compatible with that and that energy that you're putting out as well.
yeah. Okay, so let's go back to this intuitive listening. So you had somebody in university telling you had the GBM, the great bushy monster. Great big monster?
Gargantuan bush monster.
I wrote it down, but I didn't write the words. So you've got somebody already kind of, I'm going to use the word teasing and or bullying, depending on how you want to, on a bad day, that actually might hit me really actually hurtfully, That's just me. I'm not saying that was true for you, but you've got somebody who's already, and that was a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got a woman already critiquing how you look and how you're taking care of your hygiene. We know that there's a lot of pressure for women to be bald. So how did you come to this place? What was this knowing within you that you were okay? How did you get there? Break down the steps for me. This, like you said, there's somebody out there for me. But how do you get to that space of confidence, Melissa? What did you do?
For me, it was more uncomfortable to think about waxing or shaving, which is not my natural like state of being, than it was to remain natural the way I was. And I don't think I really thought about it. It was just, it's who I am. Like, it's just part of me. It was part of my evolution. And it's not something that was ever shamed, like growing up in my family. Like, when you grow up as a teenage girl, your mom talks about shaving your armpits and shaving your legs. We never talked about, and not to say we didn't talk about your feminine feet, your feminine bits, but we didn't talk about like your hair down there as a source of shame or as like having to remove it. And as a mother as well, it's super important for me, for my daughter to know that however she shows up or wants to show up is fine in that regards as well. Like, it's just the two of us. You had a lot of controversy around the taking your children to a naked beach, but I like to say like we're like a naked house. Like we like, doors are open, the two of us are changing and, getting clothes off. And so she knows exactly what things look like on me.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, it was natural, right? So
I really like that. I'm just going to break it down a bit because I think it's powerful what you said. Number one, it sounds like there was space for conversation in your family growing up. It is important how we grow up, isn't it? That really shapes a
mhm,
lot of our foundational beliefs about who we are and what's attractive or what's acceptable or what makes us a good person. So that's amazing. And then number two, the exposure to normal women's bodies. Those are huge. Those are big gifts.
yeah, absolutely. And another part of, being, getting divorced and being newly single, like I was married for 10 plus years and together for 14. And it's just appreciating my body again and learning to love myself and love my body just the way it is again. Because I think a lot of my sexuality and love for my body was wrapped up in my husband's desire for it. And quite frankly, there wasn't for a long time. So for me, that was very damaging and very hurtful and very like I felt really rejected. Oh, I can't even say the word, but
Yeah, it's ouchy.
yeah, it is ouchy. So I've done a lot of work on healing that and really loving myself and my lumps and my bumps and my shapes and my curves. And even now just working on my burlesque routine, like I videotaped it and I was watching it this morning and paused on my butt. And so I'm like, working away. And then I kept looking over, that's a pretty nice butt.
Yeah, and that's like mirror work, isn't it? Just looking at yourself
Yeah,
in the mirror and saying, "I look beautiful. I'm amazing. I mean, even today, your red lipstick is so on point, and I love your sassy nose ring, and your bangs are so cute." That's actually good enough for us to just affirm all those beautiful things for ourselves, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Like even putting it on, I was like, oh, I love red lipstick on myself.
I look so good.
So I
Yes.
think we really like shifted our conversation from, sexual intuition into self-love.
Yeah.
So I think when you have that love for yourself or you start gaining that love for yourself, that's when you can start to make better choices with regards to partners and listening to your intuition. And is this somebody who's going to respect me and respect my body as much as I do?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a perfect place for us to close. Is this actually, and if you said it earlier, is this actually something that is loving and nourishing for me? Or am I actually doing this to try and please and appease somebody else?
Exactly.
Brilliant. Okay, beauty. So if people want to get in touch with you for a one-to-one healing session, you do one-to-one, you do astrological chart readings, you can do oracle cards and intuitive downloads, connecting with spirit guides. You can email me at Nadine@NadineRobinson.com. I will get you in touch with Melissa. She's awesome. So thank you so much, beauty. I loved seeing you today, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.